I had anxiety for 10 years, so you best believe on that journey I felt impatient. I felt like, am I stuck like this forever? When am I gonna heal? Even if you've been, feeling good, you want to rush the process. You're like, why can't I be fully healed already? Or maybe you have a bad week, or a symptom comes back, or a panic attack comes back, or a new symptom pops up, and you're like, oh my God, is a spiral started again? Am I gonna be stuck like this forever? If that's you on the anxiety journey, this video will help. Hi, I'm Gabe. I'm an anxiety coach. I've been working with over 156 people to full recovery. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly the 5 methods that I would use to actually develop patience in the healing journey, because it's a gentle reminder that healing anxiety isn't a race. It's not a race. The first thing that no one talks about enough is that anxiety wants urgency, but healing needs slowness. Think of it like a wound, right? So if you cut yourself, you cut your knee and it starts scabbing. If you peel and pick at the scabs, is that going to make your knee heal faster? No, right? If anything, not if anything, you are delaying the process because that scab needs to now reform before the skin can reform and just fully heal, right? So trying to make it faster, even though you think you're helping, you're not, right? It's kind of like if you ever had like a child or a toddler want to help you with something and they're so excited, and obviously you let them help them unless you're like, with the Grinch, and you let them help them and they tend up making a mess or they end up making the task take longer than needed. Like they think they're helping, but they're not helping, right? But still let them help because your kid just wants to spend time with you. Anyway, so when anxiety says hurry, you say that as a signal to almost say the opposite, like, oh, that means slow down. Just imagine its opposite day when anxiety says to rush. Slow down. Your healing needs space to happen, right? Like, for example, um, and there was an experiment done where a shark was put in this tank that had defined measurements. I think it was like 8 meters by 8 meters, and it would only swim in circles, obviously to the limits of the cage or the aquarium or whatever it is called. And as soon as it was let up to sea, after months of swimming like this, even though it was in the open water, it only actually swam the confinement to the limits of that aquarium, of that tank. So you need to give your healing space. If you try to rush it, you're not giving it space. In fact, you're constricting it so that tank gets smaller and smaller. So when you slow down, you allow yourself the time it needs to blossom. You go look at a tree outside or at a park and you go look at the largest goddamn tree. That tree didn't start large. And trees are like the oldest, one of the oldest things ever. So, and you can look at by the rings on the tree how old that tree is. But it started as a seed. It started from the ground. It started as a, and then it grew into a tiny branch. And if you look at that tiny branch, you could probably like snap that twig and pick it up. But if you give it time, it grows into a tree. And I don't know about you, but last I checked, no, most people didn't have Superman strength to snap a tree in half, right? So give yourself the space you need to grow. Literally just talk to yourself. Hey, what have I done this week that's positive? Like, I'm sure you've done something, whether it's you did the habit, you handled something better, you respond in a different way, you've done something. I promise you've done something. So just notice that progress, give your brain evidence of that progress. Because the same way when the plant grows, the roots are underground and you can't see it, but nonetheless, the roots are still growing before that plant breaks the surface and grows into a wonderful tree or plant or whatever, right? So give your brain evidence. Whenever your brain is like, I'm not healing, remind yourself over and over and over again, hey, I am healing because of this thing and this thing and this thing. I like mentioning at least 3 things out loud that I did. The other thing I want you guys to really notice, which is crazy to me that people don't realize this, is you being impatient is actually just another anxiety response. It's actually just another fear response. Wanting to heal now is just a fear because you think you're not going to get to that day when you will be fully healed. Like one of the most viewed videos I have, it has nearly 2 million views. Is like just a really simple video of me on the camera with one line of text, and it's just whenever your nervous system leaves fight or flight, and you wake up one morning and it leaves fight or flight, right? And I think the reason that video did so well is because so many people desire like to just wake up in the morning and not have any dizziness, no palpitations, no overwhelming emotions, no overthinking. So many people just pray and wait for that day. And for some people, that day never comes, right? And that's not to be dark or like, oh, that day won't come. It's just like most people choose to be a victim and don't take action, which is why, right? But whenever you're saying that, it's like you're trying to rush to safety. It's kind of like if uh if you were just walking room to room, if you were had a time bomb every room you went to, how fast would you go into a different room? You would run out of that room. You would bolt out of that room. But there's no time bomb. It's just your brain making you think there's a countdown, as if I don't heal tomorrow, I'll never heal. But continuing to want to heal tomorrow is how you guarantee not healing. So your brain just needs a little reassurance. And I don't mean reassurance like, let me go get external reassurance from Google or a coping strategy or let me vent to my someone, right? It needs like, hey, slow down, be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, talk out loud, or even say something gently in your inner voice that is reassuring, like, hey, you're gonna be okay. You're safe. You are healing. You got this, whatever it may be. One of the final ideas I want to bring you guys is patience actually, believe it or not, fastens healing and actually regulates your nervous system. So, for example, if you're trying to tell your body that you're not in danger, right? How would that look like? Okay, if I have an anxiety symptom and I want to tell myself I'm not in danger, if I rush to fix it, if I think about fixing it, if I'm thinking about getting rid of it by fighting it, by distracting myself on my phone, what does that communicate? Does that communicate safety or does that communicate danger? But if you did one thing slow, whether it's you took one slow breath, if you're eating your food, you ate one bite slowly. If you're walking room to room, you open the door slowly. If you're doing a work task, you type slowly. If you just did one thing slow when anxiety screams to do it fast, it's you proving that you can be patient. So it's literally like kind of like you watch the sunrise instead of turning on a light. Even though it's slow, it surely happens. And the other thing is like the tiny wins are the real wins, guys. Like it is the real wins. Like those micro improvements that you see day to day are the wins that we don't appreciate. Like everyone's seeing this story online of like the 0 to 100. I lost, 200 pounds. I became a millionaire. I was homeless and now I have a house and a family. I was single for 20 years and now I've got the love of my life. Although we see that snapshot as like success, it didn't happen like that. That person who became a millionaire worked for it. That person who found the love of his life went, worked on himself, went on the dates, etc. That person who lost 100 pounds or whatever, they did the workout and they did the workout every day, even after a month when it didn't really look like the beach body they wanted. So those micro wins, like, hey, I lost a pound of weight today, right? A pound of weight today. That's still a win. Hey, I shouted at my if you are very irritable and you shout at people when you're anxious. Hey, I shouted a little bit less today. Or I usually Google 3 hours a day and I only Googled 2 hours today. I usually distract myself 20 times a day. This time I only distracted myself 19 times. That's a win. Like that is a win. I promise you that's a win. Any sort of change where you did better than before, that's a win. But you have to literally say those wins because anxiety is not going to say those wins. Anxiety is going to be like, oh my God, you didn't win enough. You're not at the finish line yet. You're fucked. Like you're not going to heal. Right? That's what anxiety is going to want to say. So you have to be there and just actually take a step back and realize, no, I am winning. Even if it's not the highlight reel, it's still a win. And it really is a real win, right? And just, being patient with the process and actually falling in love with the process. I'm going to say this sentence, and it may be the most important sentence I say here today. Healing anxiety is not a destination, it's a journey. And I'm gonna say that again, like healing anxiety, this whole healing journey to have the symptoms go away, be that person that doesn't have DPDR, be that person that doesn't overthink, be that person that can be truly present with my friends, family, go outside whenever I want. Becoming that person isn't about the end destination of that person. It's about the journey and process and the hurdles you go through to become that person, right? So all you have to do to get there is stay there in the journey, right? It's like if I'm on a car journey, but it's in a car journey with all the people I love. And then once I get off that car journey, I don't get to see those people again. I don't give a shit where the car is going. I'm going to enjoy the car journey, right? So you don't have to like the pace, right? If I've got a bruise, I would rather it went away, right? For those of you that are, like wanting to save a little bit more money, I would love my bank account to double in a day, right? But it doesn't happen like that, and that's okay, right? But I can sit with the pace. I can sit with myself in the journey because the character traits you learn, the lessons you learn, the person you become by the end of it, I promise you is worth it. And you will look back at like, oh, the only reason I've been able to get there is because of what I went through, right? The only person like someone would lose weight is because they've suffered so much with being overweight. The only way someone learns healthy financial habits is when they go through a period of suffering where their lack of money or lack of saving or lack of investing created these negative returns. The only way someone with anxiety tends to take action. Like some of you watched one of my videos, clicked on a link, signed up, booked a call. The only reason you did that is because you were in enough pain. And only because you're in enough pain did you take action. And every single one of you on this call have healed in some point of way, even if you're not fully where you want to be, right? So stay with that journey because it got you to where you are today. Just like a child who's scared, sit with it. And final reminder, so you are already healing. Like you're already healing. If you are breathing and if you took action, you were already healing. If you had a quote unquote setback and you responded differently, you're healing. If you were Googling halfway and you're watching an anxiety video halfway and you turned it off because you realize this isn't serving you, you're healing. If you did your meditation today, even when you didn't want to, you're healing. So healing is like a sunrise. I know I said that before, but it really is like a sunrise. It does happen, even if it seems dark in the beginning. It's not like a light switch. But we've been trained on this instant gratification, like, oh, as soon as I want everything, I can get it. If I want if I want food, I can order it. If I want easy dopamine, I can scroll on my phone. If I want porn, I can do it in 2 clicks, right? It's like we've been trained in society for instant gratification. So we apply that sort of logic to everything. That's why when people say, hey, I can heal your anxiety in 24 hours, it grabs people's attention, right? Because we want things fast. But that removes the whole everything that happens in between. You're already healing, and the patience is a skill that you develop to see it. And that's okay.